Hi everyone, and welcome back to I See Dead People's Houses. Today we are in historic Charleston, South Carolina at the Aiken-Rhett House. This beautiful house was built in 1820 and has a lot of secrets to reveal to us, so let's get started. The Aiken-Rhett House is one of Charleston's most important historic homes because it preserves nearly 2 centuries of change in a single place. The house was originally built around 1820 by merchant John Robinson as a relatively modest Charleston double house. After Robinson experienced financial troubles, the property was sold in 1827 to William Aiken Sr., a wealthy businessman. It soon became the home of his son, William Aiken Jr., who would later serve as governor of South Carolina. During the 1830s and 1850s, Aiken Jr. and his wife Harriet greatly expanded the house, transforming it into a grand urban residence with formal rooms, galleries for art, and extensive outbuildings. After the Civil War, the house was passed through generations of the family, eventually becoming home of the Rhett family, descendants of the Aikens. Because later owners made very few updates, the house slowly aged rather than being modernized. This resulted in an unusual preservation of original finishes, furnishings, and signs of everyday use from the 19th and early 20th centuries. In 1975, the last family residents donated the house for preservation, and today it is owned and operated by the historic Charleston Foundation. Rather than restoring the house to a single historical moment, the foundation chose to keep it as found, showing layers of history all at once. This house really had a presence with it that none of the other houses I've been to had, and I did a little bit of digging on some ghost stories, specifically about the drawing room, which I felt to be extra eerie, and apparently that room is said to be haunted. Visitors have reported hearing faint music, soft footsteps, fleeting shadows, and sudden cold spots in the room. Glad to know I wasn't the only one. Something really cool about this house is that there's various methods of illumination preserved throughout the house. You can see evidence of candles, gas lighting, oil lighting, and electricity all throughout the various rooms if you look closely. It's impossible to talk about the Aiken-Rhett House and not talk about the enslaved people who lived here. These people were central to the daily operation of this household and the wealth of the family, yet their lives were tightly controlled and largely undocumented in their own voices. Men, women, and children were enslaved on the property and lived in the surviving outbuildings behind the main house, where they worked as cooks, laundresses, carriage drivers, stable workers, craftsmen, and domestic servants. Unlike plantation slavery, their labor took place in an urban setting, where enslaved people moved between buildings, interacted with the wider city, and were constantly visible, yet denied freedom. The physical survival of their quarters, kitchens, and workspaces makes the Aiken-Rhett House especially important because it allows historians to study the realities of urban slavery in Charleston and to acknowledge the enslaved community whose labor sustained the household and shaped the site's history. We don't know the name of every enslaved person who worked at this house, but we do know some, and I'd like to list them. William, Duca, Judy, Andrew, Molly, Ann, Hetty, Thomas, Phoebe Ann, Elizabeth, Henry, Sambo, Dorcas, Phyllis, Rachel, Victoria, Eliza, Betsy, and Elijah. It's important to know that these names come from records created by the enslavers, not the enslaved people themselves, and often reflect incomplete historical documentation. However, they do represent some of the individual people who lived at the Aiken-Rhett House and whose identities have, at least partially, been preserved in historic sources. And there you have it. We have just completed the self-guided tour of the Aiken-Rhett House here in Charleston, South Carolina. It was one of the spookiest places I've been, and I absolutely loved it. As always, if there is a specific place you want me to go, please feel free to drop it in the comments. Until next time, I'm Casey Martin. This is I See Dead People's Houses, and remember, it's not just history, it's housestory.